The right door will open without you knocking. That sounds amazing, right? You are ready for an exciting adventure of getting all of the business referrals that you would like, being able to amplify your impact and lead with innovation. It's just a matter of time, meeting the right people in the right place at the right time. Now, the journey of getting there is something to discover. My name is Alicia M. Morgan. I am an aerospace and industrial engineer who has worked in aviation and defense, has been in nonprofits as an executive leader, leading education and programs. I have also led after-school programs and career and workforce readiness programs in higher education. It's a lot of amazing work, and it's about amplifying impact. This series, this is part 5 of the Introverts Guide to Leadership. It's from my experience being an introvert as well as a high performance leader in many industries. And I wanted to share what that journey would be like for you, some key takeaways or insights that you will be able to tailor to your own journey as you find your voice. And the first part of this series, Finding Your Voice, was about understanding how to build trust and the 4 factors of trust. There was a book that was discussed. And the 4 factors include humanity. You really have to get to the heart of understanding people and the human aspect of what you do, people first in the culture, and being transparent, being credible, and as well as reliable, all those amazing things. Then my journey from an engineer to an innovator, what that looks like, to go from just being a technical person that may have some resources allocated from the organization to being able to win resources as an innovator and understanding stakeholder engagement. I've worked with senior leaders, engineers, technicians, facilitators, finance people, manufacturing operations, and nonprofits that have to do with civic engagement, healthcare services, all these different moving parts, and working through high school administrations to get things done, from the K through 12 students, learning how they interact in the classroom to outside of the classroom. All those things help you understand how to build influence. And influence, you have to be able to engage, being able to pull people in. And how do you do that? And my journey of understanding how to amplify impact and being able to communicate well is a large part of that. In my high school, I was the class speaker. Now, back then, I would use notes a lot. And I was just wanting to always have the perfect things to say. So learning how to speak without using notes, a large part of that was me joining Toastmasters. Toastmasters has this thing called table topics. You have to learn how to talk about random topics within 5 minutes and understanding filler words that you use, like so, that really can sometimes diminish your credibility and make you sound like you're unsure of yourself. To understanding how to be able to improv on the spot, being clear, compelling, and concise, and all those things, as well as understanding how to pace yourself as you speak. So that was one of the main things that I wanted to do. And then in your organization, wherever you are, if you're still an individual contributor, you're a first line manager trying to help figure out how to get to executive leadership, how can you build those skills outside of your organization to empower you? I'm glad you asked. A big way to do that is to join nonprofit boards. Now, in the beginning, you may not be the chair, but if you can volunteer for a key position. My first nonprofit was called, I was a part of, was called Training for Excellence, and it was helping youth become leaders and plan their own conferences and events. And I was the fundraising chair. So I had to go out and really reach out to pitch to organizations to get fundraising dollars, in-kind gifts, and everything in between. And so that really taught me a new skill. It was a little bit about sales, right? Because you're selling your impact of your organization, whatever your in-year reports that you have, and you can show your stories, your photographs, anything that you can to really establish a partnership with a potential partner that can give you some fundraising dollars. The next aspect of being a part of a nonprofit board, after being a fundraising chair for several years, I was an advisory board chairperson at a high school. So that helped me to understand how high school administration works when you're trying to partner with schools for your programming, whether it's STEM education or some other programming that you're doing, or you want to bring students in for tours. So I was able to work with the high school administrators as well as the principal, which was really key later on when I was leading an education program at a nonprofit, is that I began to understand how school partnerships work and how nonprofits partner with schools and having to go through actually their regulation, their requirements, et cetera. So there's a key to understanding that you really, when you think about innovation, you really have to be willing to get tactical in the weeds. You may not understand everything or have all the skills, but the more you understand what's going on in the tactical, the more you're able to add value and understand how you can partner with other organizations to amplify not only your impact, but the impact of that organization as well. Now, once you are doing all these things, I hope you're capturing notes of what you're doing, because then you're able to establish yourself in op-ed articles and write your thought leadership and opinions about what's going on. I was able to join a fellowship with the op-ed project to really learn how to write hooks and pitch my ideas to magazines. And I was featured in The Hill, Dallas Morning News before, Miss Magazine, and as well as Chicago Cranes for Business. So all those things helped me to amplify my impact. But remember, I started with communication and being able to communicate well, whether you join Toastmasters, you hire a speaking coach, et cetera, gaining some nonprofit board leadership experience, and as well as leading as an advisory board chair, and then writing these articles. Now, from there, you can expand more if you want to speak on stages. So I have been a TEDx speaker, and I really talked about my journey of embracing a growth mindset and really moving forward from failure. And so that art of the influence that you want to build in the last video you talked about is really understanding how to show that through all these different channels that you're working with, from individual contributor to managers, first level managers to executive leaders, working with nonprofits, school administrators, et cetera, I was really able to really find my voice and show my leadership style as doing that. And a large part of being able to do all of this is navigating from engineering to all these amazing opportunities in different sectors and establishing different relationships, is leveraging certifications. So I started off with those 2 engineering degrees in aerospace and industrial engineering. And when I transitioned to working with nonprofits, I was able to get nonprofit management certification. So to understand how nonprofits work, what their key success indicators are, and how they really manage their data management, and how they can tell if you're being successful through logic models, which would be something like similar to a strategic plan in some ways, as well as how can I lead projects and go from projects to programming. I am a project management professional. I have my PMP. And so that's another way. And the PMP really tells you about understanding when you're in a waterfall environment where time, scope, and cost may be constrained, And then when you're in agile environment where you have more flexibility, how are you able to do that? And then being able to share your thought leadership in another capacity. So all these things really matter as you go along your journey. And so understanding how you can do these things and amplifying your impact. I want to really establish the point that oftentimes we think we can meet the right people in the right place in the right time, and people will automatically open the door for you. Sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. You have to learn how to manage your expectations and to keep going. And that's why these things that we're talking about today are ways to, if a door doesn't open immediately, you can get to another door because you're sharing your voice, you're on a board chair, you meet people from different organizations that may have different connections, but always be about building that relationship over time and not necessarily making it transactional, immediately thinking that someone can help you or refer you to a situation. So to keep going. And remember that this influence, you are really trying to pull people in based on what you know and your experience, et cetera, versus trying to force and push it. So it's very important that you understand that this journey is continuous, isn't over time. And as an introvert, introspective person, asking more questions, being more empathetic to know what people think, feel, hear, and see, and how you can help them gain something from working from you by understanding their pain points and meeting people where they are. You have to be able to be reliable, relatable into that journey. It's always a journey for different people coming in, and really lightening up and understanding that sometimes first impressions may not be the right impression because there's things that go in. People can be nervous. You can have direct versus indirect communication going on. So amplifying your impact is really about meeting people where they are and consistently showing up and building that trust that you need to continue the journey to amplifying your impact, as well as empowering others to do that same thing as well. I hope that you found this series very useful. So if you have any comments to share, I'd love to hear them, and anything that you have learned in your journey to amplifying your impact. So remember that this journey is yours alone. Someone can give you an information about their journey and tell you some things that you could do that may work. So a door may open faster for you than it did for me, and vice versa. Just understanding that, trusting the process in the journey of how it unfolds for you, documenting that journey and being comfortable with the unknown sometimes is the beauty of it all. So I wish you the very best in amplifying your impact, and I'd love to hear about how you've done that.